My favorite way to learn is just face-to-face. It's watching something be done. It's having an interactive conversation. So I intend to continue as a leader being on the front lines as much as I possibly can, being connected to the people that are doing the work, having those conversations where we can have the dialogue that allows us to continue to kick around ideas and to generate new ways of thinking about doing things and to make sure we have a common understanding of where each part of our organization is coming from. People are here at Cox Health because they're missionally driven and missionally focused. And what a great environment to learn in. You have teachers all around you. The feeling of moving into a role of responsibility like this in an organization like ours is twofold. It is a rich blessing. It is one that I start my day thanking God for and I end my day thanking God for. Is the rich blessing I have to be in our organization and in a role where I feel like I can continue to influence as so many leaders have before and carry on through tradition as an organization. At the same time, I would be lying if I didn't say it brings with it a sense of burden and onus on making sure that I'm giving my best to the organization like everyone else. It's a little bit like walking a tight wire without a safety net underneath it. But then you take and you pause and you look at all the people you're working alongside and you realize this isn't something you do alone, and there's comfort in it. There's comfort in knowing that there's strength in our numbers. There's comfort in knowing that we're united in the same cause. What excites me specifically about the journey Cox Health is on is we have all the right people in the room, and I feel like we're rowing in the right direction. The ideas are there. We just have to stress to ourselves, we need to take the time and the energy to let the right ideas bubble to the surface and prioritize those appropriately. And I will tell you, I can't imagine that our number one priority isn't going to be our workforce going forward. And what an exciting way to invest your time and energy than in people. As you walk through the hallways here, as you interact with the work that's being done, you remember we're in the people business. We're in the business of caring for people. And that doesn't just mean the patients that walk through our doors. The people we're also caring for are our colleagues. And so our focus on workforce is a focus on a global solution we can provide in top quality care and the best place for us to possibly work and the culture and environment we get to work in. So that's what I'm excited about, is we get a chance to recreate our strategy with an emphasis on our people. I think caring for our workforce starts with realizing that just because we're in a lull period around COVID, and who knows what the future is going to hold for us, that people don't have their tanks refilled in a month or 2 months or 6 months. And people don't have their tanks refilled automatically just because we're not under the same exact pressures. People have given of themselves to the point where they've been running at a deficit. And we have to be intentional as an organization in helping people recharge, helping people reconnect, and helping people even in those times that are difficult mourning. I can't imagine some of the pain and suffering that our teams have gone through, that they have witnessed. And I think we have to realize there's some real PTSD that's out there right now. And we are somewhat struggling, but we're being very intentional of how exactly do we address that as Cox Health and as an industry as a whole. There's not been a silver bullet that's been identified yet, but we're going to continue to be very diligent in addressing what those needs are. And it's not going to be a summer campaign for us. This is something that has to be a longitudinal part of who we are, and that will have to continue forward beyond COVID too. So I think we're looking to really up our game and our wellness and how we take care of our employees. What makes Cox Health special are the people you interact with here every single day. It's the way your life is enriched by the people that pour themselves into you, whether it be a conversation coming across the skywalk, whether it be a note that you get in the mail of congratulations or sympathies. I can't tell you how many hugs I've gotten in the last couple of weeks, and people patting me on the back and saying, you've got big shoes to fill, but we're here to support you and we're going to do it together. I've never felt an environment anywhere else in my professional career where people are so willing to, again, sacrifice of themselves to help other people around them succeed. And I think that is just such a wonderful part of this environment. I like change. I'm probably one of the few people that loves change. So a day that's most satisfying for me is one that I feel I've been a little topsy-turvy. It's one that I feel like I've been challenged and my mind hurts just a little bit more than the average. And I feel that I've been pushed to a point where I've grown. So oddly enough, it's getting to the end of a day where you're kind of worn slick a little bit, but for all the right reasons. Is you sat in a group with people and you had a mindset, and that mindset got totally morphed into something different, and you feel like you've grown and that you're walking away with something that I would just made a little bit better today. That's a great day for me. I'm not really defined by my work. I'm not really defined by my past. I'm defined by my relationships with my family and my faith, first and foremost. So at who I am at my core are those two things, and they're preeminent in my life, and I hope that they shape the way I lead and the way I work. Is my faith is by far and away the most important thing for me in my life, and the way that my faith expresses itself most specifically is in my interactions with my family. I think of the biblical principle of when Christ was asked, what is the greatest of the commandments? And the greatest of commandments, as expressed by Jesus, was love the Lord your God with all thy heart, soul, mind, and strength. And second, and very closely related to this, is love thy neighbor as thyself. And so I come and I try to approach my life with that sense of the biblical faith of love. And I would hope that the way I lead, the way I interact with others, whether you agree or disagree in an environment that seems to be highly polarizing. We were in a meeting the other day and someone kept saying, we just got to see each other as humans. We have to see each other as humans. And I think through that faith lens of loving the people we're around. And again, I think that's one of the things that's wonderful about our culture. I'm sure I disagree with a lot of people about a lot of things on different topics, which are fairly inconsequential. When it boils right down to the fact that you see me as a person, I see you as a person, and we just care about each other. And so I think my faith at its core is that principle of just trying to see other people for who they are, just trying to wrap your minds and your hearts around them and the way you interact, and it's through that principle of love. Well, it's kids, and for those that have young kids, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about, or have had young kids or interact with young kids. They're relaxing for the first 15 minutes of interacting, and they're completely exhausting at the same time. But I'm again, the type of person, I don't like to sit still. I've got to be moving. I've got to be making progress towards something. And that progress sometimes looks like just having a strong relationship with my kids and doing activities. I love the first 5 minutes when I walk in the door. And my kids are all still pretty much at an age where they're running to the door and yelling, Dad, and I'm getting a hug. And they're dragging on my legs as I'm trying to get to my closet and changing my suit and tie and into something more comfortable. And it's those times we spend together. My kids, every single one of us, every single one of them will give me a hug before I go to bed, before they leave for school if it's not too early. And I'll tell you about the best part of my day, no matter what time it is. I don't care if I'm leaving for work at 4:30 in the morning. My son's room is over the top of our garage. And so when he hears that garage door open, he's got a little window. He opens up that window and he waves bye to his dad and he tells me he loves me every day. It's the best part of the day. And the other part of it is I like working. So if I'm not working here, I like working with my hands. I grew up in a construction family, in a construction business. I love home remodeling projects. I like working outside. So I'm kind of a workaholic, but I enjoy the different types of work because I'm addicted to progress. I love making progress. I would just want to reiterate how appreciative I am of the support I'm getting right now and the way people are rallying around me and saying we're going to do this together. And there's no more heartwarming aspect when you know you're in for a fight than to look around and you've got a bunch of people that have your back. Be excited about the future. Know that Rome has never been built in a day. We're not standing where we are today based off of one piece of work, one time period. This is decades and decades of dedicated leadership, and we will accomplish many great things. We won't do it all. But we're going to push the pace a little bit, and we're going to run pretty hard, and we're going to have some transparency and visibility that I know Steve has created through the pandemic that we're going to carry forward that's going to hit so many other aspects of this organization. We're going to create common goals together, and we're going to watch stuff go through the finish line. No different than we've done for the last couple of years in pandemic. We're just going to apply that to everyday life. We've learned a lot in the last few years, and we're going to do it towards stuff now that is really going to bring some energy back to us.